As you might know, the Association for Talent Development is changing their certification, and they're moving from the CPLP to the CPTD. One of the areas that they really emphasize in personal capabilities is project management. So why do you think having project management capabilities is important to a talent development professional?
You're going to use it every day. I'll give you a great example. It's one right now I'm doing.
Welcome everybody. I am Dr. Craig Engstrom, and as you know, on this channel, I primarily cover videos related to improving the efficiency and effectiveness of your workflow from a communication point of view. But I have recently been studying for the Certified Professional in Talent Development. And as part of this studying, I came across some useful articles on project management, which is one of the areas of knowledge that you need to know about. And so I reached out to who I see as one of the primary experts in the field, Dr. Bill Brantley. And as you can see on his webpage here, or his LinkedIn, I mean, just has a lot of really good experience. And I think we're going to learn a lot from him today. So I look forward to hearing what he has to say. With that said, Dr. Bill Brantley, would you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about you?
Well, yeah, thank you for the kind introduction. Thanks for calling me an expert. We're all still learning. And there's so much more learning about project management. So yeah, my background, actually got into project management back in early 1999. Before that, I have a lifelong love of communication. I've been a communication scholar since I went into, when I was an undergrad, got into speech communication. And honestly, project management has done more to convince me that communication is so important in working in today's world. So I work now at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. That's my day job. I work in the Enterprise Training Division, and I handle the career coaching program, the executive coaching program. I handle the supervisor certificate program, and talking about knowledge management, or not knowledge management, but yeah, well, also knowledge management, project management. I have been helping offices go to agile project management and helping some of our trademark specialists and our Office of Communication go that way. I also teach at two different universities, University of Louisville and Kentucky. I've been teaching with them for 20 years out of the communication department. And I teach at the University of Maryland in the engineering school, even though I'm not an engineer. I teach in the Project Management Center of Excellence. And I've been teaching with them since, I believe, the fall of 2012. So it's been fun.
Yeah, you're staying really busy. And so I'm assuming these are online courses then, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Like I was telling you earlier, I specialize in online courses, and I really pioneered that at University of Louisville. One of the first professors that used wikis. If you all know what a wiki is, remember what a wiki is, blogs in my class. And I remember using to have that hand code my courses instead of these nice little learning management systems.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as you might know, the Association for Talent Development is changing their certification, and they're moving from the CPLP to the CPTD. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but one of the areas that they really emphasize in personal capabilities is project management. So why do you think having project management capabilities is important to a talent development professional?
You're going to use it every day. I'll give you a great example. It's one right now I'm doing. I'm helping put together, I'm the program manager for our leadership forum at USPTO. That is a 4-day event, 1,300 supervisors and managers, 55 sessions of training. You better believe I'm using project management to manage the team. I got a team of 13, and that's not including all the vendors, all the conference services folks, and we're going virtual for the first time.
Oh.
So yeah, that's, so project management. And the thing about project management, we kind of mystified in the profession. It's kind of like Oscar Wilde said, every profession is a conspiracy. We kind of dress it up all these terms, but everyone here they're a project manager, and if you planned a wedding, you planned a family reunion, you planned a trip, you're a project manager. So and when training and development, it's so important because we deal with tasks, we deal with schedules, we deal with resources. How to orchestrate all that, that's the heart of project management. So that's why it's so important. Hi, Cassie.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we got a cat. That means we're going to go viral.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's also trained in project management.
Yeah. So even instructional designers, will be needing some project management skills, which they really emphasize in the Talent Development Book of Knowledge. So it is a pretty broad field. And in fact, you can get a certification just in being like a PMP or a project management professional, which I believe you have that certification,
Oh yes,
correct?
I have that.
Okay. So in your thinking then, if you had to sort of boil it down to what are the top 3 theories or concepts that you think people really should be focused on if they're studying for the examination?
Well, and this is my visual aid I do for my students. So there's the iron triangle of project management, and you've heard that joke about you want it fast, you want it quick, and you want it good. Pick 2 of the 3. This is, as an instructional designer, as a trainer, you're always balancing resources and time and, the quality of your training. So learning how to balance that and get things done and orchestrate it in a good way, that helps. So I think it's the primary skill. A secondary skill for for training and development folks is risk management. I mean, how many times you've been in a training event that something has gone wrong or something's going crazy, and you need to handle that at the site, at the time. And one of the things with the instructional designers in our office, I teach them risk management because I said, okay, you've got this great course. Now, what are some troubleshooting things we can give to our facilitators just in case something doesn't go right? So I had a little bit of risk management in that. And then I have a certification also in Agile project management and something called Disciplined Agile Delivery. And Agile, the best thing it teaches me is to think on your feet, be able to improvise, and be resilient. So that, and also change is our friend. Because I've had worked with some vendors where they just want to give me the same old training product. And it's like, no, we need to change around. I mean, give you a great example. Agile project management came in place. When quarantine hit, we were 100% telework at USPTO. Every course had to go virtual. And I had to teach my team how to do that and get them to go virtual. So it's like, on a dime, get this going. The craziest thing we did, which was a testament to Agile project management, they wanted to do a town hall to increase morale. So we had to do that in Office of Human Resources, 140 people. And our director said, could you do that in a week? And we did. We pulled off a 3-hour training all in a week. We even had a game show in there.
Wow.
And people loved it. Yeah, that's the power of project management.
Yeah. What kind of game show was it?
It was kind of, it was a cross between Jeopardy and Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And it was trivia about the agency, which in one sense was kind of sad about how much we don't really know about our agency. When you put them on the spot, like, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really are emphasizing this idea of Agile in the workbook. I see a lot of articles on td.org about this. So it's more than just a buzzword. It's an actual practice that you really ought to be paying attention to. And
it's really a mindset. And that's why sometimes you'll see people that say they're practicing Agile, but they've got the artifacts and they got all the things hanging on the wall, but they don't have the mindset.
Okay, gotcha. So I was going to ask you, like, what are some common scenarios in which you're using project management, but you've already sort of hit on some of those. So maybe you could share, if it comes to mind, like an example of a project that went awry or you've heard, sort of in the field that could have been benefited from a better project management plan.
Yeah, we've had some, I'll just go with some of my own personal training stuff. I mean, we had one training that was set up that was offsite, and we were going to do, I think, about 50 supervisors and managers. It was part of the supervisor certificate program. And we had to, and again, this was kind of working with the vendor, we kind of did a little off-shelf thing. We didn't really customize it. And it was what we call HR Day. And it's basically all the HR folks come in and tell us about your different units and what you do. And it's PowerPoint, and it was 8 hours of PowerPoint. It was by PowerPoint. I know. And it was horrible. And I remember I should have spent more time planning.
Yeah.
And I could tell people were angry. I was angry. It was just one PowerPoint after another and didn't really corral the speakers. We all been there, right? So what I learned from that is, how can I make that more engaging and interactive and actually more fun for folks?
Yeah.
So the next year we turned into an expo. We had people have booths from the different offices. We let the participants come in. It was only 3 hours. We treated, we gave out little swag items, what we can do. But what we found out was that it was better to do it that way because people want to have one-on-one conversations rather than have PowerPoint.
Yeah, for sure.
And also banned PowerPoint from it. That helped. But yeah, so that's where I learned from, okay, we're going to try to do a different thing here and project manage that way.
Yeah.
Great success, I thought.
That's great. I like this example that you gave too. I don't know you know, if it's common parlance in training and development, I haven't really come across it, but the idea of decentering yourself, we talk a lot about this in instruction, right, in higher education, that the teacher should really be decentered from it. So I like your example because it was like, you know, you don't need a trainer doing a one-to-many. Let's just let each other, you know, train, all the participants become trainees, you know. It's actually like an in-practice wiki in a sense, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the terms I like to use, you know, take us from the sage on the stage to the guide on the side, and I do a lot of that. And the whole concept of training from the back of the room, I actually teach that. And, you know, with adult learners, you really want to have them up there and giving their experiences. So one other innovation we tried is case studies. And I give them some stuff up front. We do a little facilitated discussion, but we let the students take over and talk to them. These are experienced people, in most cases, that they've got some great content.
That's great. So thank you for that example. I think that'll be helpful because I think in the exams, you know, they usually give some kind of scenario and then you have to kind of choose what would be the best option from that with some pretty good distractors to throw you off. With that said, there is a great article on the T&D website where you talk about your 10-year CPLP experience in the making, and I'll have a link in the description directly to the 3 articles that you have published on td.org that I think are great. And before I move on to this, I also want to give a shout out that you do some great webinars through the Maryland chapter for Association for Talent Development. So hopefully, you know, people will look you up, be in contact, and join these great webinars, you know, and even inviting people. I remember that training that you did with knowledge management. I don't remember who the speaker was, but I just got tons out of that and actually got me using SharePoint because that's what she was emphasizing as a knowledge management strategy. So just anyway, great stuff that Bill puts out there, just so all of you know. But based on your experience then studying for the CPLP, what examination study practices would you maybe share with some folks?
The one that really helped me the most, and you know, when I first took the CPLP and had to take it again because of course it expired after 10 years, they kept giving me grace periods. And I'll have to explain why we
well, that's very nice of them.
Yeah, but what helped me greatly is, you know, you got the little learning system, but I got a notebook, a couple of notebooks, dime-store notebooks, and I rewrote my notes in there. So I would read and I would rewrite it in my own words. And I would use that to study from because, you know, the learning system's huge.
Yeah.
And I found by making myself write it down and put it together, and I'm kind of a visual person. I like to put everything into a mental model map. So I had all these little diagrams. That helped me the most because I could review it and it was smaller. So when I'm on the metro or I'm traveling somewhere, I got this little notebook I can pull out and kind of read, you know, go over some things. So that helped.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
So I used it to both times. Yeah, and the reason why it was funny because I was just leaving Kentucky to come to DC, and I was actually applying for a position in the Kentucky personnel cabinet as a trainer, and it's thought this would be attractive to my resume. So I passed the test, and then at that time you had to do a demonstration, right?
Oh yeah.
Of training. So I don't know what happened. I kept trying to get folks, and I had one session where I was videotaping myself, giving a training so that people can review it. And I never could get enough people to come in the room. So that was kind of sad, I thought. I think it was me being a first-time trainer.
Yeah.
But I just kind of let it slip from me. And then, you know, when I got my certified professional in training management from the training industry, you know, which that was a great certification to get too. I said, well, let's go get the CPLP. And I just said to go, we're going to get this thing finally. So I gave myself a year and we did it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but the key takeaway is for you, at least you were sort of transcribing what was in that book of knowledge and just you really kind of nuts and bolts samples to draw on, and you could use that anywhere, you know, and run through them.
So when I got to those questions, now you got to be kind of careful because, you know, there is the CPLP way or CPTD way to do it, and there's what you learned in your practical experience.
Yeah.
And not everything is as perfect as CPLP kind of gives it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's what makes some of the questions so hard because, you know, when you read them, you're like, well, I could see this being sort of deployed. These, you know, you can usually round it down to 2 items. Right. And then it's really, you're on the cusp of which one might be the best choice or optimal choice. So yeah. Well, anyway, so with that said, that's all the questions that I had, unless you wanted to share anything else that you might have, little nuggets of wisdom from your tenure in the industry with the audience.
It's I really love this. I mean, it's funny. I started off as a government paralegal, and after 6 years, I tell folks I kind of woke up one day and said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I became an IT project manager, and this is how I kind of backed into training because I was training my team on these cutting edge topics. We didn't have anyone out there, no vendors, no trainers. And I had to learn all this myself. And I just realized I was enjoying training so much. And like I told you, I've been a communication scholar for all my life. And that's what really drives me about training. And I do a lot of communication training. And that's, wrote the book, Persuasive Project Manager. It's about communication and project management.
Okay, I didn't know that. So there you go.
Yeah.
Send me the link to
I'm
that.
working on the second edition of that. Yeah, it's been great. It's kind of nice when you're a first-time author, and I self-published it through Amazon, but it was, we got an editor. It was kind of fun. It's kind of fun when you're a first-time author and people say to you, there wasn't enough in your book. And I thought, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So I'm expanding the book out there. But, you talk about the other webinars. I do webinars also for the Project Management Institute of Southern Maryland. We give them a shout out. And one of the more popular ones, actually, I'm thinking about doing a webinar on training first aid.
Oh.
I did one for first aid for project managers on basically it's more about how to get your team together and how to handle project emergencies. And
that would be awesome.
Yeah. So like we were talking about the idea with agile and just being resilient, because training is fast moving. There's all kinds of new things coming out. I mean, latest thing I've been playing with was Clark Aldrich's short films and seeing how those would work. But yeah, I think this is one of the fields that it's always exciting. It's always new stuff. Don't get too enamored by the technology because that's going to change. But try and do different things. We were talking about like get out of the front. Don't do the PowerPoint. But, be this like guide on the side. And another thing that I find with a lot of trainers, and it's because we're such helpful and giving people, we forget a lot of times to take care of ourselves. It's right now I've been doing these big bursts of certifications.
Yeah.
Because I kind of realized I was putting off all this stuff, and I thought, well, I'm just going to sit down again and just get these out. So I'm doing some coaching, doing some other certifications, because it's really tough in this field sometimes to keep up. And not to name any names, but I've seen some trainers that just been doing the same thing for so long. It's like college professors. They really need to reinvigorate yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to go out there and kind of refresh yourself so you're a better service to your students.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's why a lot of people are going for this and, willing to try out in the pilot. So this is always a little nerve-wracking when you're going to be the first folks sort of taking the examination. But nevertheless, I'm excited to be personally taking it. And I think that your insights are actually going to help me, and hopefully they'll help others in preparation for the examination. So for those of you out there, if you happen to like this video, you found it useful, give it a thumbs up, as well as share it with others that would get some value out of it. And I hope to see you back on the channel so that you can learn a little bit more about improving the efficiency and effectiveness of your communication, whether you are a trainer, a talent development professional, an HR person, an instructor. I think I've got content here for everybody. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, sir.